Welcome to the Lost and Found in the Philippines podcast. Get ready for a fun and wild ride as we explore finding love in the Philippines. Join your host as he shares his experience from 7 nearly month-long visits. He will cover what to know before you go and how to get prepared for your trip. You will also get some tips to help you think through what type of person you hope to meet and how to find them. Let's get ready to get lost and found in the Philippines. Here is your host, Trevor Williams.
I am speaking with Lewis, and it's a great honor to welcome you to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
A lot of our listeners will most likely remember you from being in season 1 of 90 Day Fiance. Starting off, could you give me a little backstory of what it was like being on the show?
Yeah, the show wasn't, being on the show wasn't so terrible. They recorded a total of about 3 weeks out of the 3 months. However, it kind of turned into, trying to think of how to word this, it kind of turned into what we were not expecting, because we joined the show under the guise that it was going to be a documentary type show on the 90-day process. And then as the show went on, they started doing stuff to cause drama, obviously. And then they actually replaced our film crew, the camera crew, partway through, because they wanted somebody else to come in and get the shots that they wanted. So they were very specific when they replaced the crew, and the guy basically said, look, they had us come in here because they want particular shots. If we can get those shots, we'll be out of your hair. So it, like, partway through the season, it started morphing into not technically scripted, but they were going to cut it to appease the public so that they could get the most ratings, I'm figuring, because they actually didn't even have the next week's show. It was not cut until the previous show had aired and a few days had passed, so they could gauge the internet response.
I gotcha. You said that they would create drama?
Yeah, they didn't, like with us, it wasn't as blatant as the newer seasons, but one of the first examples was, obviously they had to be let inside the apartment so they could record Aya coming in when we got here, and they went in and took clean dishes out of my cabinets and put them in the sink, so that when Aya came in, she would think that I did not take the time to clean the kitchen before she got there, if you remember that episode. Yeah. And then it was after the fact, I was kind of irritated. And then, I'm pretty sure when we did some of the episodes with my ex that they gave her very pointed questions to ask me to stir stuff. And I was not aware of anything that was supposed to be said before we got there, because obviously they wanted real-time reaction.
Wow. Yeah, that would actually explain one of the questions I was going to ask you. To get to that question, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but since what you're telling me that they tried to stir up stuff, during the show I had heard a scene where Tanya said that you and her agreed that you were not going to have kids again. Did I understand that? Sorry,
the baby was yelling in the background. Actually, yes, she did ask that, and she did say that, because I think halfway through our marriage, we probably told each other or agreed that, if we ever got divorced, we weren't going to have any more kids. But that was something that was said 5 years before a divorce.
Yeah. So, was she upset that you overall ended up having 2 more?
She doesn't seem to be, but I'm not terribly worried about that.
Yeah,
I'm worried about raising the 17 and 14-year-old with her, getting them, graduated high school, college, and into a career, and then we'll see what happens with our dynamic. But we try to be as I'm trying to think of the word, but just we get along, and because we have to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to make sure the kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Wow, so 17 and 14? They were so small. They were small, man.
They were small. They were very small then. And they are not anymore. The oldest one's 6'1", 6'2", 250. So he's he's a big guy. So
yeah. And they're not fighting on the bed anymore like they did in the second episode?
No, they just fight everywhere throughout the house.
So if you could do it over again, the show, would you do it again?
No, I mean, the we did it primarily because we thought it was going to be one thing. And the, you know, some of the financial stuff did help. Obviously, they don't pay very much. It was like $750 an episode or something like that. Then this first season was like 6 episodes, where the new seasons are like 15 or something like that. And they get the craziest people they can find that have been on Maury Povich and stuff like that in the past because they want that dumpster fire flame fanning as much as possible, because that's where you get the viewers. But that's why we didn't do, the after season 1 recap. That's why we never appeared in anything else. We were asked, but we didn't want anything to do with them, because they kind of, they lied to us, misdirected us, and our pride and stuff like that is worth more than 15 more minutes of fame potentially. One of the biggest things that they did was they told us not to get a videographer or a photographer, because they were going to be there taking photos and video, and they would just give it to us. And after the season was over, they told me that they could not give it to me because it was property of Sharp Entertainment and TLC. So we lost out on video of our wedding because of them. So that was kind of a sore point.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I could imagine. So just to sum it all up, they pretty much told you that it was going to be a documentary, and it turned out to be a reality TV series.
Yeah, it went in beyond that. It was supposed to be like a documentary, and then it turned into a docudrama like that we were seeing. And then the way they edited stuff after the fact, we had no control over that. Like one scene where we were talking about the wedding dress and Aya was crying, and they made it look like I wasn't going to be able to buy her the dress and stuff like that. We already had the dress when they at that point when we were talking, and then the crying wasn't even directly related. So it's just how they spun everything afterwards, and then it just got worse and worse and worse as the seasons went on. So
you were able to get her that dress, the one she wanted in the episode?
Yeah, like I said, we had it before they even recorded that section of the season. So
that's great. Yeah, that was terrible, because they made you feel so bad for Aya. Like, oh wow, Lewis he's not being fair, he's not being nice, and I was like, that is just terrible. But now that you tell me what really happened, shame on the show.
Yeah, and like I said, that's why we just haven't had anything to do with them since then, because we didn't want to deal with it anymore, especially seeing the direction they went.
So you still watch the show, like the newer episodes?
No, I catch snippets on Facebook and stuff like that. I don't watch much TV, let alone waste my time watching that.
Yeah, given them ratings.
Yeah.
It just gets crazy and crazier. I still watch it when they have a Filipina on, but that's as far as it goes. And Big Ed, oh my gosh, I can't believe a Big Ed.
Yeah, like I said, I think they're finding people that are going to create the most buzz, whether it's good or bad.
And they have, too.
Oh, yeah. So
like 5 different versions of 90 Day Fiance now.
Exactly.
So what would you say to those who think people who do the 90 Day Fiancés are desperate to find love?
I wouldn't say they're any more desperate than somebody looking in the States, try to figure out how to say it. So, for example, Aya and I talked on video and voice chat for 9 months before I actually went out and spent some time with her in the Philippines. And that was 9 months where we talked every day, where we actually spent more time together than people that live down the street from each other and are dating or whatever, right? And I think that it just happens to be where you find it. I think that when it comes to really older gentlemen looking at places like that for younger women, that is not, I don't know. I want to leave that subject alone, but Aya and I are 3 years difference. And when I was looking online at dating profiles, because I had joined a local dating site, and I've went on a couple dates, nothing really turned into anything. And then I saw a dating site on the sidebar of that site being advertised. So I was like, yeah, let me see what this is. And then I didn't realize it was a international dating site until I had already, filled out all the information, was already on it. And when I saw Aya's profile, I liked it because she was wearing normal clothes, and she put she knew what she wanted. She knew what she was looking for as far as, the type of person she wanted to try and get to know. And it wasn't some glamour shots where people were just dolling themselves up like a catalog, So that's one of the reasons that I started talking to her, is because she was more down to earth and wasn't really looking for anything, and she wasn't looking to leave the Philippines. If I didn't have the two children that I had when I met her, I probably would be living in Southeast Asia right now. So
Yeah, I remember you saying something like that, and that was going to be another question of mine on, do you have any current plans in the future to eventually move back to the Philippines with Aya?
I don't know if we're gonna move back then. I mean, right now I got the youngest one still has like 4, 5, 6 years of school left, and then we'll have the baby here. And I wouldn't mind living in a different country, but I've always told her that I'm not sure unless I have a job that is a remote job that pays American money. I feel that if you move to the Philippines and you're living there, and even if you're working there and you own businesses, unless you're very wealthy, you can get trapped because plane tickets cost the same there as they do here.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you're not saving any money. It's not like the Filipino airline is going to charge you $30 to fly to America.
Right.
So I'm definitely, we've talked about it, and who knows what's going to happen. But I mean, we're just taking it phases at a time. 2 older kids first, and then the 2 younger kids, and decide what to do.
So you've only been to the Philippines one time?
No, I've been 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
What parts?
Primarily Cebu and that area because she's from Ormoc. So Cebu, Ormoc, and some places around there. And then when we were there, we traveled to Mangalong, and I can't remember if that was the name of the resort or the island, and we also went to Boracay. But I think everybody goes to Boracay if they're near the Philippines. They can just wind up there.
Yeah, Boracay is amazing. It's so cheap there, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind going back since they've done the beautification and like cleaned it up a lot. I want to see what it looks like.
It is really different. I mean, that is the only bad part about it, is they don't let you eat on the beach anymore.
Oh, okay.
They don't let fire dancers on the beach anymore.
Ah.
So it's really dull, but the water is more beautiful. And I mean, I made videos that are on the Lost and Found in the Philippines YouTube channel that show me out in the water, and I can look down and see my feet.
Oh yeah, I have a video of me scuba diving while we're out there, and the water's perfectly clear for 30 feet down. So
yeah, it's crazy, but it's so beautiful. Yeah, I've never been to Cebu personally. I've been to the Philippines 7 times, but never to Cebu.
Okay.
A little backstory about myself. I've done the 90-day fiance visa twice and currently about to do it a 3rd time. So, yeah, I found the wrong ones. The first time, it was bad. She used me just to come to the United States, and then she left me after she got a green card. And then the second one, she stayed with me to help her become a nurse, and then she didn't have any use for me. So, yeah, there's some bad ones, but there's definitely some good ones, obviously, as you found.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what, I mean, you always have to, there's always that possibility. And, it just, hopefully you're able to see it before it gets too late, but sometimes you're not able to because you're blinded by love and stuff like that. Fortunately, that has not been the case with us. We actually joke, and I told her, I said if she leaves me, that she's not allowed to have half, and she goes, well, and when we don't have a ton of money, so she's like, what, half of zero is still 0. So definitely not worried about it.
That's awesome. If you could name the best thing you love about the Philippines, what would it be, or would there be more than one thing?
I would have to say that probably just the people in general. It's not the same where like you're not walking down the street here, and if you nod at somebody, they don't like tend to nod back. However, when you do make friends or you're with family over there, then it's definitely a different feeling. It's just better, and you can feel like home even when you're not.
Yeah,
some of the places are really beautiful. I haven't been everywhere, but some of the places are really beautiful. But I don't know. I tend not to dwell too much on that because you can have the Mangalong Resort which is beautiful, has an infinity pool, looks over the ocean, all this other stuff. And then you look over the fence, and there's people living in a building that wouldn't be considered like a mini barn in the backyard here in the United States. So it's like people, so you have to kind of just be aware of, what's going on. And I've always liked the going somewhere and not being the touristy type. I want to go where the tourists don't normally go. We had a really long layover in Hong Kong once, and we got a bus fare, went downtown Hong Kong and walked around all night. And you're, as a regular tourist, you're not going to be walking around downtown Hong Kong looking on your phone, finding the best dim sum place in Hong Kong, and walking there, worried about whether you're going to get mugged or this or that or whatever. I'm a pretty big guy, so I don't worry too much about that stuff. But I like being enveloped, as opposed to like just going there and using the area as like wherever I go. I like to live like it's like I'm Filipino, but as the best I can when I'm there.
Yeah, go beyond the normal for tourists.
Yeah,
I understand. So your wife and you're about ready to have you and Aya's second baby, your fourth child. So do you plan on trying to have maybe another child, and hopefully it's a girl? I know probably Aya would love a little girl.
No, we actually talked about that, and we're not terribly worried about having another kid, just because we're both, I'm 40, she's 37, and so we're already gonna be like in our 50s when they graduate high school.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So almost 60. So I asked her, if she was worried about having a girl, and she said she was perfectly fine with the boys. I'm sure if one of them was a girl, that would have been really cool. But, now we just have two more boys that are going to beat each other up for the next 18 years.
So regarding Aya, is the reason she tries to avoid stuff like this is because of her experience with 90 Day Fiance?
Yeah, I had to really talk her into getting on the show because we already knew each other and we were already engaged when the show found us. So it wasn't like they put us together for the show. That's why all of the first season couples are still together, because
True.
They were already engaged when they were found. So, but yeah, that turned her off, and she didn't even really want to do it. And then I felt bad because I talked her into it, and then it turned into that. So yeah, she definitely doesn't have anything to do with this type of stuff anymore.
I definitely understand that. Do you guys ever get recognized when you're out in public?
Yeah, we actually were in Lowe's the other day buying something, and we got up to the counter, and the girl's like, "I love you guys on 90 Day Fiance." So we still get recognized to this day, but we don't make a big deal about it.
That's cool. Yeah, and I noticed some of the newer seasons, they actually have a Cameo page.
Yeah, there are cast members that have Cameo pages, that have other pages that are not safe for work.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And it's just like they're just, they're
milking it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I don't even know how. I couldn't do that. If I knew about that, I'm like, man, I should have made a Cameo page. But nobody wants to get a birthday greeting from the boring people. They apparently want them from Darcy when she's laying in bed, not and has makeup on. So whatever.
Oh, I bet you'd still get people that would do it.
Yeah, I'm terribly not worried about it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I highly respect you for that, because you're not trying to milk what 90 Day Fiance did, and you want to just completely forget about it and leave it in the past. And I don't blame you, because with your experiences that you told me, I wouldn't want anything to do with being even related to 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, and I belong to a couple Facebook pages that talk about it, but I primarily stay in there so I can troll the show and talk crap about Sharp Entertainment and TLC.
That's awesome. Good for you. All right, Lewis. I'm just dying to know, would you say it's more fun in the Philippines?
The old cliche thing. I mean, it definitely. I mean, I think anything is fun when you're doing it for the first time. And I definitely enjoyed it. There's a lot of stuff to do out there. The weather's good, so you can kite surf part of the year, you can surf part of the year, you can, do all kinds of stuff all year round. So I think that lives up or helps build up to it's more fun out there. I mean, I swam with whale sharks once when we were out there at one of the places, and one of them bumped me and tried to knock me underwater. But yeah, I mean, it definitely is fun. And that's obviously a tourist thing that they're trying to do, because obviously people that are over there living in poverty might have a different opinion.
Yeah. Have you ever recommended going to the Philippines to any of your friends since it's so cheap over there?
I mean, I've told them that it's a great place to go and visit, and definitely would recommend going to like Boracay since it is a touristy place. But yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend anybody going over there and enjoying the culture and the food, and forgetting about their normal everyday stuff that's bugging them for a couple weeks.
Yeah. I'd like to thank you again, Lewis, for your time, and please thank Aya and the kids for letting us spend some time with you tonight. God bless you and your family, and I wish you the best. Take care, Lewis.
Thank you for having me, and I hope that your podcast continues to grow.
I appreciate it. Take care. There you have it. In reflecting on everything, it's a shame the producers of the show would deny them from getting a photographer and tell them that they would take care of it, and turn around in the end and refuse to give them what they wanted, to be able to always remember that amazing, incredible day that they got to say, I do. I realized that what Lewis had said about the couples of season 1 are all still together, and that is very accurate. I looked into it. Russ and Paula are still married and have a baby boy named Axel. Alan and Kiriam, hopefully I'm saying that right, are still happily married as well, along with a son named Liam. Mike and Aziza are the same, still married and have a baby girl named Olivia. Unlike the seasons after the first, there's a lot of divorces and drama, just like the show wanted. I do want to say that I hope I have many more interviews to come, so I can get more people's point of view, especially if they were ever part of the show. If you're listening, contact me and let's get your story out there. Let people know what you experienced and what all happened. In regards to our next episode, it should be released within the next 2 weeks, so stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed listening to the interview, as it was very memorable and informative for me. Stay safe, stay healthy, God bless, and remember, it may be fun in Vegas, it might be fun in Hawaii, it could even be fun in Miami, but it will always be more fun in the Philippines.
Thanks for listening to Lost and Found in the Philippines. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. If you like the show, leave a review and be sure to tell a friend. For even more, check out the Lost and Found in the Philippines YouTube channel.